right, this is the Parenting Talk Show with Coach Ayolua. Today is another day. Who is here with me today? Today is another day. My name is Ayolua Adedeji. I am the founder and the lead consultant at the Model Family Focus. And today, we're diving into the ultimate guide to positive discipline that works. The ultimate guide to positive discipline that works. For the past few weeks on the show, we have been talking about discipline. This is because discipline is so important in parenting that if we are able to get discipline right, we have gotten almost everything right about parenting. And when our discipline strategies go wrong, it means it affects every other aspect of our parenting. So it is important for us to understand how to go about disciplining our children in our parenting journey so that our discipline will not do what is against our intention. Like I always say that parents always have good intention rather. We always have good intention. Discipline our children by beating them, slapping, shouting and all that, every other thing that we call discipline. They are coming out of good intention. Just that our approaches sometimes are wrong, and so it damages the very children that we care about. So that is why for the past few weeks, we have been talking about discipline. And today again, I'm going to share with you the ultimate guide to positive discipline that works. There are discipline that works. There are discipline that do not work. There are discipline that works, and we need to be guided. Like I do say that parenting is not an assumption, is not an intuition. It is a learned skill. It is a learned skill. We shouldn't assume parenting. That was what our parents did, and that was what brought us to where we are currently. So discipline, positive discipline, is a skill that we the parents need to learn so that we can know how to discipline our children effectively. Sadly, most things that we call discipline are not discipline, they are abuse. Yes, they are abuse. So there is a guide, there is a way to melt out discipline, there is a way to discipline a child that your intention will be achieved. And that is why we are diving into the ultimate guide to positive discipline that works. Once again, my name is Ayolua Adedeji. I am the founder and the lead consultant at the Model Family Focus. At the Model Family Focus, what we do is we teach parents how to parent their children, how to raise well-rounded children without compromising discipline and respect. We teach parents how to parent. That is all we do at the Model Family Focus. Discipline doesn't have to mean conflict. Not at all. Discipline doesn't have to mean conflict. It doesn't have to mean conflict. What we grew up to know is about discipline is conflict, chaos, misunderstanding and all that. But discipline doesn't have to mean conflict. Discipline is about teaching. When we understand the principle of discipline, when we understand what discipline really means, then we will know how to, discipline effectively. So let's look at what positive discipline is. What is positive discipline? Positive discipline is guiding a child with respect, connection, and empathy. Guiding a child, not intimidating a child, not terrorizing a child, not punishing a child, not humiliating a child. Is guiding a child with respect, connection, and empathy. It focuses on teaching rather than punishing. Positive discipline focuses on teaching rather than punishing. If your discipline strategies does not teach, then it is not discipline, it is abuse. Yes, I say so. If your discipline approach, your discipline strategy is not teaching your child a skill, then it is not discipline, it is abuse. Yes, it is not discipline, it is abuse. So positive discipline, it focuses on teaching rather than punishing. Jane Nelson, the author of Positive Discipline, there's a book titled Positive Discipline. She described positive discipline as kind and firm. Kind and firm at the same time. It's about balancing compassion with structure. Discipline, positive discipline, is about balancing compassion with structure. A lot of parents don't know that you can be stern and be firm. That you can discipline without shouting, without even letting it look as if you are disciplining a child. As a matter of fact, any discipline that is lousy is not usually effective. Yes, because if you are disciplined, if your discipline strategy is lousy, is noisy, you are probably reacting. You are not acting. You are probably reacting out of emotions, out of frustration, out of anger. But positive discipline is about balancing compassion and structure. Balancing compassion and structure. All right, so how do we apply discipline that works? Like I said earlier, there are discipline that works and there are discipline that do not work. So how do we apply discipline that works? I have said this, that positive discipline means guiding a child, and not punishing a child. So how do we apply discipline that works? The first thing to do is to focus on connection. I have said this many times, and I will continue to say it until we understand it. That you cannot correct your child without connecting with your child. Connection comes first. A child who is not connected to you cannot be influenced by you. If you are not connected to your child, with your child, or any other child, so to say, you cannot influence that child. I have the privilege of working with teenagers, with children. And what I do most times when I meet a child, or when I have contact with a child or a teenager, is to first connect with that child. I first connect with that child. And how do I do that? I just look at if the teenager is a girl, I look at, oh, you are looking beautiful, you look good. I love your hairstyle, I love your dress. Something good to bring connection, to make us connected. And when I do this few times, after some time, if I meet that child and I say, is there anything you want to share with me? Surprisingly, they will open up and share some things with me. So the first thing to do for us to discipline a child positively, for effective discipline, is to connect first. Connection is the foundation of positive discipline. Children are more likely to cooperate when they feel understood and valued. Children are likely to cooperate when they feel understood and when they feel valued. One of the reasons why parents struggle with discipline their children, is because their children are not feeling heard and valued. Yes, if your child is feeling heard, feeling valued, feeling understood, you will not struggle with disciplining that child. You will not. But when a child is not feeling valued and understood, there will be power struggle, and the parent will find it difficult to discipline that child effectively. And that is what results to resentment and anger. So connection is a foundation of positive discipline. For you to discipline your child effectively, you need to connect with your child. You need to connect with your child. You can discipline your child without first making your child feel bad. Again, Jane Nelson said, and I quote, "Where did we ever get the crazy idea that to make children do better, we must first make them feel worse?" Where did we get that idea? Where is that idea coming from? For us to get our children to do better, we don't necessarily have to make them feel worse. No, we can correct them, we can discipline them, we can make them to behave better, to do better, even without first making them to feel worse. So you need to build trust before you attempt to correct a behavior. You need to build trust. Your child needs to trust you. When I hear parents complain that my child is telling lies, my children are telling lies, you know what the psychology of lies says? That for a child to tell lies, it means that that child does not trust the parent's ability to handle his or her truth. So if your child is telling lies, it means that you have not built an enabling environment for you, for your child to say the truth. Children, when given opportunity, when you create an enabling environment, children will always say the truth. Yes, children will always say the truth. So you need to build trust before you attempt to correct a child. Your child must be able to trust you that you can handle his truth, whether beautiful or horrible. Whether your child misbehave or not, your child needs to trust you. There should be a level of trust that your child will have in you. When your child trusts you, then there's likely to be a connection, and this will eventually make discipline effective. All right. So, how do you focus on connection first? For us to parent effectively, I think the first thing we need to do is to have a mindset shift. Yes, we need to have a mindset shift from the traditional approach to discipline to modern discipline. Wherever I talk about positive discipline, gentle discipline, it always reminds me that there's still a lot of work to be done in this sphere, in this, parenting stuff. It's obvious that a lot of us are still glued to the traditional parenting style, the traditional disciplinary approach that our parents used on us. And that's why parents will say, my parents beat me and I turn out to be okay. I am who I am today because my parents slapped me, because my parents hit me. I thank my parents because they beat me very well. So we need to start by having a mindset shift, removing the mental block. Yes. To know that it is possible to actually discipline a child without beating a child. We can discipline effectively without hitting a child. So how do we apply connection to positive discipline? How do we apply connection? You need to have a connection, what I call connection rituals. Create daily habits that foster closeness, such as hug in the morning, sharing meals without distraction, or spending a few minutes chatting about your day before bedtime. We have routine in our home. And one of it is that when we wake up, most times we hug ourselves, we hug the children, and we end our day with hug. That is it is not negotiable. That is a routine in our house. And every night we have connection moments as a family. We have Bible reading time. Then we have our bonding time before we say our night prayer and before everyone goes to bed. So it's a connection ritual. It brings connection. And if by any chance we were busy that we missed a day, even the children will, we missed our connection moments yesterday. We shouldn't miss it today. It's a moment that everyone enjoy in the family. So this has helped us to stay connected as a family. And when there is need to discipline the children, it's usually not a problem. Not really a problem. Yes, there are times that children will resist discipline, but it's not the norm. It is not the normal thing in the home, in our house. So you need to have a connection rituals. Have an activity that bring you together as a family on daily basis. On daily basis. I am busy. I don't have time. It's not true. You have time. Just like you didn't know how to manage your time. I don't have time is not the correct thing to say. The right thing to say is that I don't know how to manage my time. This connection rituals doesn't have to take a whole lot of time. 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes is okay. Just be consistent. Consistency is the game, is the rule of the game. Just be consistent. And before you know it, it brings the family together. It is a connection point for every family member. The second thing to do to apply connection as for positive discipline is to acknowledge feelings. Acknowledge feelings. Before addressing behavior, show empathy by validating your child's feelings. Your child is getting angry. The first thing is not to try to stop the anger. No. The first thing is to validate that feeling. At the Modern Family Focus, we believe that no feeling is bad or negative. Every feeling is valid. Anger is not a negative feeling. Anger is not devil's anointing, as people say. No, anger is not devil's anointing. And what we have been able to teach our children is that when you are angry, what it means is that there is a problem to solve. Then you work towards solving your problem. Solving the problem. Not by fighting, not by eating, not by slapping, not by shouting, not by yelling. So acknowledge feelings. For instance, say, I see you are upset. Let's talk about it. This shows your children that their feelings matter and helps de-escalate tension. When your child is feeling angry, your child is feeling upset, the right thing to say is, oh, I can see that you are feeling upset. Sometimes when I notice that my children, are putting up a kind of feelings, the first thing I do is to ask them, oh, it seems you are having a feeling. Can you share? Sometimes they say yes, they share. Sometimes they say no, I don't want to share. Okay, that's fine. If you don't want to share, when you are ready to share, I am here to listen. That is to tell them that their feelings are valid. It is okay to get angry. It is okay to, feel frustrated. Punishing a child for getting angry is an abuse. Yes, it is. Your child has the right to feel angry, just as you have the right as a parent to feel angry. So you need to acknowledge your child's feelings. The next thing to do is to be present. Be present. Give your full attention during conversations. We are talking about how to focus on connection so that you can you can discipline your children positively. Be present. When you're having conversation with your children, that is not the time for the TV to be on. That is not the time for you to work on laptop or to be on your phone. Sometimes when we are communicating with our children, we pause the TV. Everything is on pause. No phone. Because you need to be present and be fully present. You need to be present physically, emotionally, and mentally. You need to be able to pay attention to verbal cues and non-verbal cues. You need to put away devices and engage actively with eye contact when you are communicating, when you're having conversation with your children. Ensure that you maintain eye contact, nodding and listening to their words without interruption. Listen to their words without interruption. You know, all this nonsense that we think children are saying. Hey, what nonsense are you saying? There are senses in that nonsense, just that we are not patient enough to know. So you need to be present. That is how to focus on connection. That is how to get connected with your children. Use positive touch. Use positive touch, gentle touch, such as pats on the back, holding of hands, convey warmth and reassurance. Pat on the back. See, children don't need a lot, as much as we expect. Common high five, thumb up, pat at the back, hug, a peck at the cheek. We go a long way for children. These are little, activities that ensures that we are connected, that foster parent-child connection, and that makes discipline effective when we are to discipline them. Build trust through small daily rituals and always acknowledge their feelings before addressing behavior. This lays the groundwork for cooperation and mutual respect. I was once in a public speaking, engagements, and I was talking about parents respecting their children. I think I said this in one of my live session on the parenting talk show. And the father said, I am the father. Why do I need to respect my children? Why? My children should be the ones to respect me. Yes, you are the parent, you are the father. But how do you teach your children to respect you by disrespecting them? It doesn't work. It will not work. You teach respect by respecting first. You teach your children to honor you by honoring them first. You don't say to a child, you don't teach respect and say to a child that I am your parent, you must respect me, you must honor me. No, it will not work. They will hear, but they will not learn, and they will not do what you ask them to do. So these approaches, using positive touch, being present, acknowledging feelings, and connection rituals, are ways to focus on connection before correcting your children. This is a guide to positive discipline that works. The next thing is to focus on teaching skills rather than reacting emotionally. I said it, that discipline is about teaching. It's not about beating. It's not about yelling. It's not about shouting. It's about teaching, identifying skill deficits. Instead of trying to fix a behavior, discipline is about identifying that what skill is my child lacking that is making my child to behave in this manner, and then working towards empowering your child to acquire the skills. So focus on teaching skills rather than reacting emotionally. Positive discipline is about teaching, not punishing. When children misbehave, use it as an opportunity to guide them towards better choices instead of reacting out of frustration and anger. If you are reacting to your children, if you are reacting to your children's misbehavior out of frustration or out of anger, you are not disciplining them, you are abusing them. You are not disciplined. You are not. So every misbehavior in a child is an opportunity to guide that child towards better choices instead of reacting out of frustration or anger. It is when you react out of frustration or anger that you hit a child for misbehaving. As a matter of fact, children don't misbehave. What we call misbehavior is an expression of a need, is a child's way of telling us that I have a need. I need you to help me in this area. But because we don't understand, we say this child is misbehaving and we need to correct the child, we start eating the child, we start beating and all that. Reacting emotionally to misbehavior can escalate conflict and create fear or resentment. Reacting emotionally to misbehavior can escalate conflict and create fear or resentment. Instead, teaching children problem-solving skills, emotional regulation, and alternative behaviors equips them with tools they can use in the future. Teaching children problem-solving skills. For instance, your child pours water on the floor. The next thing is not to beat. Why did the water fall? Probably the child is not holding the container very well. What positive discipline would do is to teach that child, okay, accident happens. This has happened. Next time, this is how you should handle the container so that the water will not split on the floor. But then we have to clean this together. If the child is of age, you have to clean this together so that you will learn how to handle it next time. So instead of reacting emotionally to misbehavior, teach problem-solving skills, emotional regulation, and alternative behaviors to equip children for better choices in the future. This approach fosters long-term growth and understanding. So how do we achieve this? How do we focus on teaching skills rather than reacting emotionally? The first thing to do is to stay calm. Stay calm. The calmer you are, the more control you have. And the more control you have, the more influence you have. It's as simple as that. Stay calm. Take a deep breath before responding to misbehavior. Your child misbehaves. You are not pleased with it. Possibly you are angry. It's okay to feel angry. Take a deep breath before you respond to the misbehavior. Model emotional regulation that you want to see in your child. We complain that our children are not, they are misbehaving, they are throwing tantrums, they are doing this. But we fail to understand that that is what we do too. Your children learned that from you. I think I said this last week on the talk show. At some point, I found out that our daughter, was becoming aggressive. She would talk anyhow. She would raise her voice, and I was becoming worried. And my husband said, "Where is this coming from?" I looked at it. When there is problem, the first thing to do as an intentional parent is to look at the gap. What is it that I'm not doing right? What am I doing wrong? And I look at it, and what I could point out is that this girl is picking that attitude from us. And when my husband asked, "Where is this coming from?" I said, "It's coming from us." So we need to watch how we respond. And that was what we did. That was what we did. So stay calm before you respond to any misbehavior. Take a deep breath. If you need to excuse yourself from the sin, please do. Take excuse and get away and go and cool off. And when you are done, when you are emotionally stable to teach, then you come back and you attend to the situation. Identify the skill gap. Consider what skill the children need to handle the situation better. Identify the skill gap. For every misbehavior in a child, there is a skill gap. And what you need to do for effective discipline is to identify that skill gap so that you can equip your child with the necessary skill to be able to manage such behavior in the future. For example, you can think, do they need help managing frustration, expressing themselves, or understanding boundaries? When your child is misbehaving, the right thing to do is to look around. What does this child need for him or her to stop this misbehavior? Then provide guidance. Instead of saying stop yelling, let's use a calm voice to talk about what is upsetting you. Offer alternative and explain why they are important. You are the parent, but you are not the commander-in-chief. Know this and know peace. You are the parent, fine. You know, I agree with you. But you are not the commander-in-chief. Both of you are in charge. Don't make the mistake of, I am the parent, so anything I say, my children must do it. I must command, they must do, they must obey. No. If your parenting style is about command, no comments, no correction, do as I say, you are missing it. You are missing it. Everything, every command you make, every order you give, it's dead on arrival if you do not involve your children. And that is why that is where most of us are getting it wrong. So you need to provide guidance. You also need to include role play scenarios. Like about 2 days ago, I was teaching our children about emotional regulations, and we had to role play. We acted a scene where someone is angry and you are trying to cool the person down, and the person's anger is just getting escalated. That what should you do? So I acted the role of someone that is angry, and they were trying to calm my anger. Yet I keep talking and talking and talking, and they were taught what to do in that instance. After that, I also acted like they are the one angry, and I am trying to calm them down. Role playing, it's important. Practice responses to common challenges. For example, rehearse what to do when they feel frustrated. Sometimes we do role play. Show us what to do when you are feeling frustrated. How do you react when you are feeling angry? How do you react when you are feeling sad? So doing this role play, creating these scenarios will help you to equip your children with the necessary skills that they need in case that scene happens, in case that situation arises. Thank you, my husband, for joining me. Thank you for always being here. Celebrate progress. Acknowledge when they use the skills you have taught them. Don't let it always be correction, attack, condemnation, and all that. When they behave well, celebrate them. Celebrate your children. Celebrate them. You taught them a skill, and they put that skill into use. Celebrate, no matter how little it is. Celebrate. Positive reinforcement builds confidence and encourages them to keep trying. Don't just say, oh, you did well. No, be specific. Oh, I love the way you share your toys with your siblings. I can see the effort you put into achieving this. Even if the end result is not what you expect, but at least they put in effort. Celebrate that effort. Celebrate the progress, not just the results. Every little progress counts, and the little progress is what makes up the results, the the end result. So always celebrate progress. Focus on identifying the underlying need or skill deficit behind behavior, and approach correction as a teaching moment. Approach correction as a teaching moment. This builds emotional intelligence and problem solving skills. Problem solving abilities. Yes. Also, be clear and specific. We are talking about focusing on teaching skills rather than reacting emotionally. That is one of the guides to apply discipline that works. Be clear and specific. Children will not obey rules that they don't understand. When you are giving commands, when you are giving rules, when you are giving orders to children, make it simple, one at a time. One at a time. One command at a time. One rule at a time. Use simple and direct language to explain rules. For example, instead of saying behave yourself, say we use our indoor voices when we are inside. Be specific, be clear. Be clear. Be specific. Until your children are able to understand the rules, they are not going to follow the rules, and you will get frustrated. It is not their fault. It is because they do not understand the rule in the first place. Explain the why. Children need to know why you ask them to do what you ask them to do, and why you ask them not to do what you don't want them to do. Don't just give command. Do this, and they ask why. Say keep quiet. I say you should do this. You must do this. They're likely not going to follow the rule. They will not. So you need to explain the why. You are not expected to jump or climb the furniture, because you can get injured. You can fall from, the furniture and injure yourself. Help your child understand the reason behind the rule. We don't throw toys because someone could get hurt. That is teaching them, explaining the why behind the rules. Then stay consistent. Stay consistent. Consistency is a game changer. Consistency is huge in parenting. If you set a rule, you have routines, you have boundaries, you set boundaries and all that, and you are not consistent, you will end up confusing your children, and your discipline will not be effective. Stick to the boundaries you set. Even if it's inconvenient, stick to the boundaries. Stick to it. This consistency reinforces the importance of the rules. Consistency is a game changer. Children thrive on structure and predictability. When you stay consistent, the children, understand what is expected of them. They know that if they do this, this is what will happen. Few days ago, my daughter wanted to do something. I forgot what she wanted to do. And she just laughed. She was staying at my back. She laughed. She said, mommy, I just quickly control myself because I know if I do this thing, what exactly did she say? Mommy will finish me. Yes, that was what she said. She said, I know if I do this thing, mommy will finish me. That is predictability. Predictability. Your children need to know that when they do this, this is what will happen. When they cross the boundary, this is what will happen. So you need to be consistent with the boundary. If you have set the boundary around screen time in your own, if your screen time, you have agreed, you have set your screen time to be 2 hours a day, you must stick to it. If there is going to be a shift in that boundary, it should be communicated to everyone, and the reason should be also communicated to them. Stay consistent. Offer choices within limits. Empower your child by giving them choices while maintaining boundaries. Offer choices. Don't just command. Okay, you want your child to put on his or her shoe. Maybe you are going out and your child is saying, I want to eat. You want your child to do something and your child is saying another thing. Give choices. Will you prefer to eat first before you put on your shoe? Offer choices. You can either put on your pajamas first or brush your teeth first. Which one would you like to do first? Children, when giving choices, when they are being offered choices, they are not likely, they will cooperate. Yes, they will. They will cooperate. Enforce consequences with kindness. Enforce consequences with kindness. Yes, consequences is okay. In our family, our consequences for each of the bad behavior are well spelled out, communicated. In fact, they are documented. They know for each bad behavior, they know their consequences. But the consequences should be enforced with kindness. Be kind. If a rule is broken, calmly explain the consequences and follow through without anger. Thank you. Amen to your prayers. Thank you. For example, since you threw the toy after I asked you not to, we will need to put it away for the rest of the day. That's a consequence. Our son's bicycle, after riding it, sometimes he will just leave it around, in the compound. He will not pack it. And we told him, it's fine, it's your bicycle, but you have the responsibility to take care of it. But if you continue handling your bicycle in this manner, we can now see that you don't need this bicycle and we can dispose it. That is the consequences. And he understands that what we said, we meant it. And that is what is going to happen. And after playing with the bicycle, he said, let me park my bicycle because I need my bicycle. So you need to enforce consequences with kindness. If you enforce consequences with kindness, your children will not find your discipline, will not struggle with your discipline. They will not. Limits, like love, need to be firm and consistent. Limits, like love, need to be firm and consistent. Teach problem-solving skills. Teach problem-solving skills. Instead of imposing solutions, involve your children in resolving conflicts. This empowers them to take ownership of their actions and learn critical thinking skills. It is okay to feel like wanting to solve all your child's problem, but it is not okay to always solve your child's problem. Allow your children to solve age-appropriate problems. This will boost their problem-solving skills. So don't impose solutions. Don't always provide solutions. No. Allow your children to handle situations by themselves. Age-appropriate situations. Let them provide solutions by themselves. So far, it is age-appropriate. This will empower them to take ownership of their own actions. They will be responsible for their own actions and they will learn critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills. When children are involved in solving their own problems, they develop independence, responsibility, and confidence. It helps them to learn how to navigate challenges and disagreements constructively. And these are the skills they will use throughout their lifetime. Yes, independence, responsibility, confidence. These are important skills that they need all through their lifetime. Guide your child through problem solving and praise their effort to create solutions. Empower them to learn from conflicts rather than being punished. So how do you apply that? Ask open-ended questions. Avoid questions like questions that their responses are yes or no. No. Ask open-ended questions. Encourage your children to think critically by asking, what could we do differently? Sometimes when my children misbehave and I ask them, okay, you have done this. Why did you do this? Why did you do this? After giving the reason, okay, because you did this, can you now see what happened? Yes, okay. What can we do differently next time to prevent this from happening? Or how can we fix this together? Ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions will prompt your children to sweat their brain. Then brainstorm together. Sit down with your children and generate multiple solutions to solve problems. Let them take the lead, but guide them if needed. Sometimes when we are trying to correct a behavior in our home, I ask our children, okay, what do you think you can do? What do you think we can do? What do you need to do so that we can solve this problem? And you know what? When they come up with with solution by themselves, they will follow through. They will follow through. So brainstorm together. Let them lead. Let them suggest solutions. This will make your discipline effective and positive. Focus on empathy. Focus on empathy. Help them understand how their actions affect others by asking, how do you think your sibling felt when you did that? In fact, I do this a lot. Okay, you did this. If someone did this to you, how will you feel? How will you feel? And I will feel bad. Okay, so that means that the person you did this to is feeling bad. So how did you feel knowing that someone is feeling bad with your action, through your action? How will you feel? It also helps them to build empathy. Help them to understand how their actions affect others, what they do, how it interferes with others. This will go a long way. The next thing to do is to use logical consequences. Just like I said earlier, use logical consequences. Logical consequences are directly related to the misbehavior, and it helps children understand cause and effect. Your consequences should be related to the misbehavior. The consequences for a misbehavior should be related to the misbehavior. They should be respectful and reasonable and reveal a learning opportunity. Remember that discipline is about teaching. Positive discipline is about guiding a child towards making better choices and not punishing a child for mistakes. Logical consequences teach children accountability in a way that is meaningful and fair. In a way that is meaningful and fair. You have a toy and you are careless with your toy. The toy gets broken. The consequences is simple. A logical consequences will be, okay, there will be no toy until you learn how to take care of your toys. Or maybe when a child finish playing with the toys, the child refuses to pack the toys, and you have corrected the child severally. The logical consequences will be, okay, since you have not learned how to take care of your toys after playing with them, we need to put these toys away for some time. Logical consequences. It teaches accountability in a reasonable and meaningful and fair manner. Unlike punishment, logical consequences help children connect their actions to outcomes. Logical consequences help children to connect their actions to outcome. Oh, it was because I didn't take care of my toys. That is why daddy and mommy took away my toys from me. What should I do next time? That means after playing with my toys, I will pack them. Simple. And this will foster understanding and self-regulation. So how do we apply this? Keep it related. Keep the consequences related. Ensure the consequences is directly tied to the misbehavior. For instance, if a child refuses to pick up their toys, a logical consequences might be putting the toys away temporarily. Be calm and clear. Explain the consequences in a calm tone without anger or frustration. For example, when you don't pick up your toys, they can get lost or broken. So let's try again tomorrow. In our homes, we communicate the consequences even before they misbehave. In a situation whereby we forget to communicate the consequences, they don't face the consequences. We just teach them. We use that opportunity to teach them, okay, we haven't done this. We haven't taught you this. So next time, this is what you should do, and this is how you should go about it. So for what you have not taught your child shouldn't face consequences because the child has not actually learned not to do that. Few weeks ago, our son, our son was not feeling fine. So I took him to the health center. And when we were coming back, because he was not feeling fine all through the night, we had sleepless nights and I was a bit tired. So as we were coming back from the clinic, I told him, as we are going, you need to rest and I also need to rest. So once we get home, we wash our hands, you take your drugs, you go to your room, let me go to my room so that I can rest. So when we got inside, after washing hands and doing all of that, he went straight to my bedroom. And I asked, I thought we have agreed on this. You even asked if I wanted to rest and I said yes, and you agreed. So why are you staying in my bedroom? I think you should go to your bedroom. I like to be alone so that I can rest and do one or two things. So he was not pleased with that and he was angry. So he left my room. And on getting to his room, he pushed the door. He was angry. And there is this rule in our house that we don't use our hands when we are angry. We only use our hands to help. So is even our little child understand that we don't use our hands when we are angry. We only use our hands to to help. So out of anger, he banged the door. He pushed the door away. Wow, that was the first time he was doing that. So I got up from my bedroom and I went to meet him. I asked, who are you? Who are you? We have a family tagline. These are things that you get to know when you join us at the Mother Family Focus. And he said, I am a royalty. Oh, you are a royalty. And because you are angry, you pushed the door, you banged the door. But you know that we shouldn't use our hands when we are angry. Do you remember that? He said yes. So why did you do that? He said, I'm sorry. No, I'm not asking you to say sorry. Why did you do that? He said, I'm angry. But you can manage your anger. It's okay that you are feeling angry. But you can do better. He said yes. So we resolved that and he slept. I went to my bedroom. Later when he woke up, he came to me, said, Mommy, but we didn't agree that we cannot use our hands to push the door when we are angry. Oh, that was correct. I said, that's fine. Now, that will be part of our family rule, that we don't bang the door because we are angry. We don't use our hands. Yes, what we agree was that we don't use our hands to beat when we are angry. Now, we know that we don't use our hands to, hit the door, hit any object, or throw things. So, you need to communicate the consequences. You need to teach them first, then communicate the consequences. Focus on learning. Frame the consequences as a learning opportunity rather than a punishment. For example, using crayon on the wall means we need to clean it up together before drawing again on paper. If I have taught you a skill, I have taught you what to do and what not to do, and you do it, you mess up, you will clean up the mess. That is the consequences. You clean up the mess. You clean up the mess. That is a consequence that is focusing on learning. Punishment will be to beat the child and clean up the mess. If that is what you do, you are not focusing on learning. As a matter of fact, you are not disciplining your child. You are not teaching that child. You are abusing the child. If your child is old enough to clean up a mess that he or she caused, he should do that. She should do that. That is enough as consequence. So you should focus on learning. Avoid shame. Shame was a weapon that was used against many of us. Ensure that consequences doesn't humiliate a child. Consequences should not reduce a child. It should not humiliate a child. Maintain respect to preserve their dignity and encourage cooperation. That a child is facing a consequences doesn't mean a child must be put to shame. No. Avoid shame. And the last thing I like to talk about is taking care of yourself. We are talking about ultimate guide to positive discipline that works. Take care of yourself. You cannot discipline effectively if you are running on empty. You cannot discipline effectively if you are running on empty. You cannot discipline effectively if you are running on empty. You can't give what you don't have. You cannot give what you don't have. Prioritize taking care of yourself. Once in a while, take yourself away from parenting. Yes. Should you abandon your children? No, that is not what I'm saying. You shouldn't abandon your family, but create time to do what you love to do. You are forced yourself before you became a parent. You are forced who you are before you become a parent. Focus on taking care of yourself. Self-care is not selfishness. It is not. As a matter of fact, your children need you to be okay for you to raise them well. Taking care of yourself helps you to stay calm and patient. One of the things I identified early in my parenting journey, even before I go into, parenting as a career, when I'm stressed, I react impulsively. I am quick to react. Learn to manage stress. Parenting is stressful, I agree. You have every other thing to attend to. You have your personal needs, you have your career needs, you have other things to do, plus parenting. Yes, I agree. Be intentional. Be intentional. Prioritize yourself. Don't always be the last on the list. That is if you are even on the last. That's if you are on the list at all. Some of you are not even on the list. Is my child doing well? Yes, you tick the box. Is my child feeding well? The box is ticked. Yes. Is my child appearing neat? Yes, you tick the box. Is my child okay mentally? Yes, you tick the box. Is my child going to school to good school? Is my child doing well academically? Yes, you tick the box. What about you? What about you? Prioritize some activities like exercise, mindfulness, or connecting with the loved ones. Seek for help if you need help. It is not, seeking for help is not a sign of weakness as we were made to believe. No. Seeking for help is actually is strength. Yes. Seeking for help is self-aware. It means you are self-aware. You understand yourself. You know where you are, and you know what you need. You understand what you need to function well. If you need to seek for help, seek for help. Delegate activities as much as you can. Teach your children, start teaching your children early to handle chores. Yes. Our children are quite young, but they all have their own chores that they do. They have. Now our daughter is 7 years going on 8. She's managing our wardrobe by herself. She washes her clothes by herself. She arranges her clothes by herself. Our son is also going through the training. Now they are learning to wash their toilets and their bathroom by themselves. They can sweep by themselves. They wash plates by themselves. House chores is for everybody. Even the little one, our baby, the baby of the house, is age 2 going on 3. He has his own chores to tidy up the house. So when you introduce your children early enough to chores, it will relieve you of stress, and you'll be able to parent. It's not selfishness. If you need to be away, sometimes even during the day, I just tell my children, I leave them. I tell them, I want to be alone. I like to be alone. This is what you have to do when you are done doing this. Sorry about that. So I guide them through what to do and what to do. And I go inside, sometimes just to read, sometimes just to relax, sometimes just to do 1 or 2 things when I'm feeling exhausted. When you need time, take time away from parenting. Have a time that you use to take care of yourself. Do what you enjoy. If it is reading, have your time. If it is exercise, if it is mindfulness, if it is watching movies, listening to music, connecting with family and friends, if you need to take your children away from you for some time, please do so. You cannot discipline effectively if you are running on empty. If you are stressed, you can't discipline your children effectively. You can't discipline your children effectively. Positive discipline is about teaching, is about connection, and is about growth, not perfection. Positive discipline is about teaching, is about connection, and is about growth, but not perfection. By fostering respect and empathy, you are not only raising well-behaved children, but emotionally strong and kind individuals. Yes. You are not just raising a well-behaved children, but you are raising emotionally strong and kind individual. Thank you again for joining me on this episode of the Parenting Talk Show with Coach Ayolua. Please, if you have any topic you'd like me to discuss about, you can put down in the comment section. Share the link to this video to parents on your contact. Your child is not safe until every other child is safe. Your children's teacher needs to be on this platform to learn. There are a whole lot of things to learn on this platform. And everything that we are learning, that you'll be learning, that I'll be teaching on this platform, if you put them into use and you are consistent about it, honestly, you'll be amazed are the results that you are going to get in your parenting journey. Thank you for joining me on this episode. Until next time, keep parenting with intention.